morning, Shabbat Shalom. My name is Bev, and on behalf of Bet David Santon, Bet Menorah Pretoria, and Bet David Durban, welcome to our service this morning. During these extraordinary times, one way to support your shul is to sponsor a virtual service. If you wish to sponsor in the name of your business, the name of your business will scroll at the bottom of the opening screen and remains visible on the YouTube recordings of the service, affording ongoing online advertising. The sermon will be delivered by Rabbi Elisheva Salamo from San Francisco. Feel free to send comments and greetings in the live chat. Shabbat Shalom. As I look out on the empty seats that are normally filled with my loved ones, my shul family, I feel sad, but I feel very comforted to know that you are all safe and in this virtual space with me from a safe place in your homes or wherever you're watching. As always, I like to open with the reading on page 129, which reads the following. May the door of the synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship. May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture. May the door of the synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity. May its threshold be no stumbling block to young and straying feet. May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness and harshness. May this synagogue be, for all who enter, the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life. And as it is a virtual doorway, and as such has never closed, I welcome you all in to experience this virtual space, this holy space of Shabbat with me. And we have the choir singing Matovu.
Matovu, Matovu, Matovu alecha Yaakov.
Mishkanecha Yisrael.
Mishkanecha Yisrael. V'ani brachastecha. Avo beitecha. Eshtachave, Elecha kochecha, beiratecha, Elecha kochecha, beiratecha, yiratecha. Mishkan Gavodecha Vani Estachave Vechra Evrecha Livnei Adonai Lecha Adonai, Ezratzon, Elohim, Berov Chasdecha, Aneni Be'emet, Yishecha,
Thank you. It's so appropriate at this time of this third wave in COVID that we open with a prayer for our health, for our bodies, and to God for our strength. And I would like to read the reading on page 195. Blessed are you, eternal our God, sovereign of the universe. With divine wisdom you have made our bodies, combining veins, arteries, and vital organs into a finely balanced network. Wondrous maker and sustainer of life, were one of them to fail, how well we are aware. We would lack the strength to stand before you. Blessed are you, Eternal One, source of our health and strength. Baruch atah Adonai, rofeh kol basar umafli la'asot. 196. Thank you. On page 197, matter is never destroyed, only transformed. So too can the soul evolve higher and higher, from instinct to inspiration, haughtiness to holiness, selfishness to service, from individualism to union, to join with the soul of souls, the Infinite One. As the soul is magnified and sanctified, so is the Infinite One exalted. Baruch atah Adonai asher biyado nefesh kol chai v'ruach kol basar ish. Now we do the Nisim B'chol Yom on page 198. We pray for the daily miracles. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lasefer binah lahavchin ben yom uven laila. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ifrihim. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokef kafufim. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam rokah haaretz al hamayim. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechin metzadei gaver. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish arumihim. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanoten la'ayef koach. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hama'avir shana me'inai uftunumai me'afpafpai. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani b'tzelem Elohim. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani bat churin. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani Yisrael. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Ozei Yisrael b'gvura. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Otei Yisrael b'tifara. Amen. On 204, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Amen. O eternal our God, let the words of Torah be sweet in our mouths, and the mouths of your people Israel, so that we, our descendants, and the descendants of all your people Israel may know you, by studying your Torah for its own sake. Blessed are you, Eternal One, who teaches Torah to your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, hamelamed Torah la'amo Yisrael. On page 206, these are the obligations without measure which enhance our world whilst building credit in the world to come. They are honoring one's father and mother, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study, morning and evening, dealing graciously with guests, visiting the sick, providing for the wedding couple, accompanying the dead for burial, being devoted in prayer, and making peace among people, and the study of Torah encompasses them all. We move to page 212 for the Tzedakah Zimra. Baruch Shema v'haya ha'olam, Baruch Hu, Baruch Hoseh v'Reshit, Baruch Shemo, Baruch Omer v'Oseh, Baruch Hu, Baruch Gozer u'Mekayem, Baruch Shemo, Baruch Merachem al haaretz, Baruch Hu, Baruch Merachem al habriot, Baruch Shemo, Baruch Meshalem Sachar Tov Lire'av, Baruch Hu, Baruch La'ad V'Kayam Lanetzach, Baruch Shemo, Baruch Bodeh U'Matzil, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo. With songs of praise we extol you and proclaim your sovereignty. For you are the source of life in the universe, one God, life of the universe, praised and glorious ruler. Your name is eternal. Baruch atah Adonai, melech meholal batish bachot. On page 214, Mizmor shir liyom haShabbat, tov lehodot Adonai, ולזמר שמך עליון, להגיד בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות, עלי עשור ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון בחינו. כי שימתני אדוני בפועליך, במעשה ידיך ארנן. מה גדלו מעשיך אדוני, מאוד עמקו משבותיך, איש בעי לא ידע, וכסיל לא יבין את זאת. And now, Shinamezi Makoni, my friend, will be reading the Ashrei for us.
Ashrei Yoshrei Beitecha, Od Alelucha Selah. Ashrei Ha'am Shekachalo, Ashrei Ha'am She'Adonai Elohai. Tehillah LaDavid, Aromemcha Elohai HaMelech, Ve'avacha Shimcha Le'olam Va'ed. Bechol Yoma V'checha, Ve'hala Shimcha Le'olam Va'ed. Gadol Adonai Umhulal Me'od, V'gdulato Enecheka. Dolado Yazbecha Ma'asecha, Ugvotecha Yagidu. Hada Kevod Ho'odecha, Vedveren Ofliotecha Asicha. Vayezuz Dorotecha Yomeru, Ugdulatcha Saprena. Zecherav Tovcha Yabiyu, Vezarachatcha Yareinu. Chanun Varachum Adonai, Erech Apayim Godol Chased. Tov Adonai Lakol Ol, Verkamav Akol Ma'asav. Yoducha Adonai Kol Ma'asecha, V'chasadecha Yavachachucha. Kevod Malchutcha Yomeru, Ugvorotcha Yadaberu. Lahodia Levnei Adam Gevorotav, Ugvod Hadam Malchuto. Malchutcha Malchut Kol Amim, Umemshalcha Bechol Devado. Someich Adonai Hanoflim, Vezochev Lechol HaChufufim. Einecho Elecha Yasaberu, Ve'ata Notem Laem Et Uchlam Beito. Poteach Et Yadecha, Umanzbilacho Chai Ratzon. Tzadik Adonai Bechol Darachav, V'chasid Bechol Ma'asav. Karov Adonai Lechol Korav, Lechol Asher Yichrahu Ve'emet. Ratzon Yere'av Ya'aseh, Ved Shavata Yishma Ve'yoshiyeh. Shomei Adonai et kol ohavav, Ved kol hashaim yashmid. Tehillat Adonai yada beipi, Ve'yivarek kol bas Hashem kodsho le'olam va'ed. Ve'anaknu navarek yam, Me'ata v'ad olam. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah, 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 El Berkocho. Hallelujah, hallelujah, Birki Yaozo. Hallelujah, Bikurotav. Hallelujah, Kerov Gudlo. Hallelujah, Betek HaShofar. Hallelujah.
page 219. Let the soul of everything alive bless your name, eternal our God, and the spirits of all flesh glorify and exalt your name forever, O sovereign. Transcending space and time, you alone are God. We have no sovereign besides you, God of the first and the last, God of all creatures, God of all generations, who is praised in a multitude of praises, who guides the world with abundant loving kindness, and all creatures with mercy. The Eternal One neither slumbers nor sleeps. God awakens the sleeping, arouses those who slumber, gives speech to the mute. And God loosens the bonds of captives, supports the fallen, and strengthens those who are bent over. You alone do we acknowledge. Page 220. Even if our mouths were full of song as the sea, and our tongues full of joy in countless waves, and our lips full of praise as wide as the sky's expanse, and were our eyes to shine like sun and moon, if our hands were spread out like heaven's eagles, and our feet swift like young deer, we could never thank you adequately, Adonai. With our God and God of our ancestors, bless your name for a 10,000th of the many myriads of times you granted favors to our ancestors and to us. And we move to page 222 for the benediction. Ha'el b'tatzumot uzecha hagadol b'chvot shemecha hagipor lanetzach v'hanora v'norotecha ha'melech ha'yoshev al kisei ram v'nisa shochen ad maharom v'kadosh shemo v'chatuv ranu tzadikim baronai la'yisharim nahava tehila b'fi yisharim titalal uvdivrei tzadikim titbarach uvilshon chasidim tidromam uv'kerov keroshim titkadash uv'makalot rivavot amcha bet Israel berina yitpa shimcha malkeinu b'chol dor v'dor yishtabach shimcha la'ad malkeinu ha'melech hagadol v'hakadosh b'shamayim uv'aretz ki lecha na'eh Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu shiru shvacha halel zimra ozmim shala netzach gedola v'gura tehila v'tiferet kidusha u'malchut brachot v'hodaot me'ata ve'ad olam Baruch atah Adonai El melech gadol batish bachot El ha'odaot Adonai niflaot Haboche b'shirei zimra Melech elchei ha'olamim. Now, if you can or if you wish to, you can stand for the Chatz Yadish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah. Amen. Bi'alma divrach hirotei v'yamlech malchutei b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael b'gala v'zman kariv v'himeru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach Leolam lalme almaya yitbarach v'ishtabach v'yitpa'ah v'yitroman v'yitnaseh v'yitadah v'yitale v'yitalal shmei lekudesha brichu leila min kol bichata b'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma v'himeru. Amen. And 226, we go to the Baroque. Praise the Eternal One whom praise is due. Praise be the Eternal One to whom praise is due, now and forever. Page 228. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzei or uvorei choshesh, osei shalom uvorei et hakol, hameir la'aretz v'ladarim aleha barachamim, uftevo mechadesh b'chol yom tamid ma'aseh v'reishit. Marabu ma'asecha Adonai, kulam b'chochma asita, malha ha'aretz kinyanecha, tiparach Adonai Eloheinu, al shavach ma'aseh yadecha v'al morei or she'asita yifarucha sela. Or chadash al Tzion ta'ir, v'niskei kulanu meherei le'oro, Baruch atah Adonai, yotzer hamarot. On page 230, how deeply you have loved us, eternal our God, gracing us with surpassing compassion, on account of our forebears whose trust led you to teach them the laws of life. Be gracious to us, teaching us as well. O merciful one, have mercy on us by making us able to understand and discern, to heed, learn, and teach, and lovingly to observe, perform, and fulfill all that is in your Torah. Enlighten our eyes with your Torah. Focus our minds on your mitzvot. Unite our hearts in love and reverence for your name. Then we shall never feel shame, never deserve rebuke, and never stumble. Having trusted in your great and awesome holiness, we shall celebrate your salvation and joy. Gather us in peace from the four corners of the earth, and lead us upright to our land. For you, O God, work wonders. You chose us. Truly, you drew us near to your great name, that we might acknowledge you, declaring you one in love. Baruch atah Adonai, haboche ba'amo Yisrael, ba'ahava. And we stand for the Shema, if you wish.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Shema Yisrael Adon
Hear, O Israel, the Eternal One is our God. The Eternal God is one. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever. V'yavta et Adonai lehecha b'chol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol meodecha v'hayu ha'devarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha v'ayom ha'alevavecha v'shinatam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shiftecha v'vetecha uv'leftecha v'derech uv'shoftecha uv'kumecha uv'shaktam leot al yadecha v'hayu latotafot beninecha uv'taftam al mezuzot beitecha uv'yisharecha. You shall love the Eternal One your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Take to heart these instructions with which I charge you this day. Impress them upon your children. Recite them when you stay at home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you get up. Bind them as a sign on your hand, and let them be a symbol before your eyes. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. On page 236. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe lemor dalbe el bnei Yisrael v'amarta lehem v'asu lahem tzitzit al kanfei vigdehem ledorotam v'natnu al tzitzit hakanaf patil techelet v'haya lachem v'tzitzit uvritem oto uvchatem et kol mitzvot Adonai v'asitem otam v'lo tataru achareihem levavechem v'acharei einenechem asher atem zonim achareihem. The Eternal One said to Moses, "Speak to the Israelite people and instruct them to make for themselves fringes on the corners of their garments throughout the ages. Let them attach a cord of blue to the fringe at each corner. That shall be your fringe. Look at it and recall all God's commandments and observe them, so that you do not follow your heart and eyes in your lustful urge. L'ma'an tezkaru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim Elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem asher yotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Thus you shall remember to observe all my commandments and to be holy to your God. I am your eternal God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am your eternal God. Adonai Elohechem emet." If you are standing, you may be seated. True is this eternal teaching to us, beloved and precious, awesome, beautiful and good. The God of the universe is truly our sovereign, the rock of Jacob. O God, you endure through all generations. Your name persists, your throne is firm. Your sovereignty and faithfulness last forever. Your words live and endure, faithful and precious for eternity. From Egypt you redeemed us, freeing us from bondage. For that your beloved sang praise, exalting you. Your dear ones offered hymns, songs, praise, blessing, and thanksgiving to you as sovereign, the living and enduring God. High and exalted, great and awesome, God ever humbles the proud, raises the lowly, frees the imprisoned, redeems the afflicted, helps the oppressed, answering our people when we cry out. Praise to God Most High. Blessed is God and deserving of blessing. In great joy, Moses, Miriam, and Israel responded with song to you, all of them proclaiming,
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha neda b'kodesh. Nora tehilot oseret peleh, nora tehilot Israel, kuma bezrat Israel, uvdechinu mecha Yehuda ve'Israel, koleinu Adonai Tzevaot Shemo, Kedosh Israel, Baruch atah Adonai, Gal Israel.
Pray as if everything depended on God. Act as if everything depended on you. We rise for the tefillah on page 242.
Adonai sefatai tiftachu fi yagitei latecha. Adonai sefatai tiftachu fi yagitei latecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu ve'Elohei Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarai Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Elo gadol agibor ve'Adonai El Elyon gomel chasadim tovim ve'konei hakol ve'zocher chasdei avot ve'imaot ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה. מלך עושה ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה.
אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל, רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מצריח השמש ומוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה. ונאמן אתה להיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה הכל. נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדשים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzevaot, Meloch ol haaretz, Kevodo. Adir, Adirenu, Adonai, Adonenu, Ma'adir Shemcha b'chol haaretz, Baruch kavod Adonai mimkomo. Echad hu Eloheinu, hu Avinu, hu Malkeinu, hu Moshienu, v'hu Yashmienu, berachamav le'enei kol chai. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Yimloch Adonai le'olam, Elohai Yichtzion, Ledor vador, Hallelujah. Thank you. That version always gives me goosebumps. Thank you, TJ and the choir. Unbelievable. Anyway, we carry on page 248 at the bottom. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ וביום הארץ וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש. On page 252, Our God and God of our ancestors, be pleased with our rest. Sanctify us with your mitzvot, and grant us a share in your Torah. Satisfy us with your goodness, and gladden us with your salvation. Purify our hearts to serve you in truth. In your gracious love, eternal God, grant us your holy Shabbat as a heritage. May Israel, who sanctifies your name, rest on Shabbat. Blessed are you, Eternal One, who sanctifies Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu be'amcha Yisrael, utfilatam me'ahava tekabel, u'tiveratzon tamid avodat Yisrael.
Page 256. Modim anachnu lach. We acknowledge with thanks. I always find this an amazing opportunity in the middle of the Amidah to find this little space where we can acknowledge with thanks, where we can talk about things that we are grateful for and think about things we are grateful for. And there's so much to be grateful for, even in this really tough time where people are getting sick. We can be grateful for the fact that our family, our loved ones are safe and home and warm. We can be grateful that so many of our older people and our healthcare workers have been getting vaccinated. And please God, more people will be vaccinated in the coming weeks. There's so much to be grateful for. So if you wish to share on the live chat what you're grateful for, while I read the reading on page 257. For the expanding grandeur of creation, worlds known and unknown, galaxies beyond galaxies, filling us with awe and challenging our imaginations. Modim anachnu lach. For this fragile planet Earth, its times and tides, its sunsets and seasons. Modim anachnu lach. For the joy of human life, its wonders and surprises, its hopes and achievements. Modim anachnu lach. For human community, our common past and future hope. For oneness transcending all separation, our capacity to work for peace and justice in the midst of hostility and oppression. Modim anachnu lach. For high hopes and noble causes, for faith without fanaticism, for understanding of views not shared. Modim anachnu lach. For all who have labored and suffered for a fairer world, who have lived so that others might live in dignity and freedom. Modim anachnu lach. For human liberties and sacred rights, for opportunities to change and grow, to affirm and choose. Modim anachnu lach. We pray that we may live not by our fears, but by our hopes, not by our words, but by our deeds. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulechana lehodot. 256, where the choir will sing for us. video. Okay. For all these things, O Sovereign, let your name be forever praised and blessed. O God, our Redeemer and Helper, let all who live affirm you and praise your name in truth. Blessed are you, Eternal One. Your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai hatov shimcha ulechana lehodot. On page 259. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of the world. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised be you, Eternal One, who blesses your people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamavarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. And now on page 260, we pause for a moment of silent prayer. You can find prayers on page 260 or 261, or as the heart commands.
Elohai netzor לשני מרע ושפתיים מדבר ממה ונמכר אליי נפשי תדום ונפשי כעפר לכל תהיה אלוהי אלוהי נצור לשני מרע ושפתיים מדבר ממה ונמכר אליי נפשי תדום ונפשי כעפר לכל תהיה אלוהי נצור לשני מרע ושפתיים מדבר עמה ונמכר אליי נפשי תדום ונפשי כעפר לכל תהיה אלוהי פתח ליבי ושפתיים מדבר ממה ונמכר אליי נפשי תדום ונפשי כעפר לכל תהיה אלוהי נצור לשוני מרע ושפתיים מדבר ממה ונמכר אליי נפשי תדום ונפשי כעפר לכל תהיה אלוהי יהיו לרצון אמרי פי והגיון ליבי לפניך אדוני
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום, Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru amen. May the one who makes peace in the high heavens make peace for us, all Israel, and all who inhabit the earth. Amen. We turn now to Rabbi Elisheva for the sermon for this morning.
Shabbat Shalom and welcome to our extended sanctuary across space and perhaps time if you're not watching this in the morning for the holy community of Beit David. I'm here to tell you a story and to talk about what happens when we blow it. So the story I want to tell you is about when I was very, very young. I was about 8 years old. And I had a group of really close friends. And one day they showed up with this lovely looking clear cellophane bag of sweets. And they gave me the whole bag. They were about 10. And they said, "Oh, eat them. They're absolutely wonderful." And I said, "Will you share them with me?" And they said, No, they're just for you." Now you know that in your gut, when something like that happens, there's something wrong. So I take out one of these sweets, and they were clear, and they were about this big, and they were covered with a sugary coating. And I smelled it, and it smelled wrong. It didn't smell like sugar. And they're like, try them, they're so good. And I said, "Well, please, I want to share them." No, try them. And against my better judgment, I bit into one of them and discovered that it was not a lovely sugar-coated candy. It was a piece of soap. And of course my friends thought that was hysterically funny, and I spit it out, and eventually I also thought it was funny. But there was a moment where I realized, oh, I have made quite a mistake here. I mistakenly trusted my friends, I mistakenly didn't trust myself, and I mistakenly ate the soap. I'm fine, obviously, or maybe I'm not. Maybe, the soap had a funny effect on me, and so here I am, the eclectic person that I have become as a consequence of the soap. Who knows? But, in our portion today, Moshe, our leader in the desert, also makes a mistake. The mistake he makes is that he is told to hold a staff over a rock and water will flow. He instead goes back to his previous experience, his, "Oh, people are offering me nice candy" experience. I'm supposed to do something in a particular way. And he instead hits the rock with the staff as he had in the past, expecting the same result. He does get the same result. The water comes forth, but this is the moment where the divine tells him he is not going to go into the promised land. So the mistake that I made was a mistake of ignorance, sort of. The mistake where I didn't know that these were soaps, although I knew, but it was a fairly easy mistake to, first of all, make and then to rectify. The mistake that Moses makes is actually a much higher stake mistake. Sorry about the use of the word stakes in that sentence too much. And he functionally loses his ability to see this people that he's been caring for settled and happy, which is what we all want for our children and for those people we love and we have cherished. We're taught that there are actually 4 kinds of mistakes. Careless mistakes. Oh dear, I left the top off of the frog container and a couple of frogs dropped out, which did happen, and we caught them. Beginner's mistakes or stretch mistakes, where you're trying to do something and you haven't quite got it down. And so what you do is you make an error that is about learning. These are great mistakes to make because you learn pretty rapidly. Maria Montessori, who started a number of very wonderful schools, says, "It's well to cultivate a friendly feeling towards error, to treat it as a companion inseparable from our lives, as something having a purpose," which it truly has. So she's really talking about these beginner's mistakes, these stretch mistakes. Oh, I put my foot down in the wrong place in the tango and it got my partner off balance, and we missed a spot in the music that we could have done something beautiful in, right? But now I know where to put my foot. So these are opportunities to learn. Our mistakes of ignorance, which is sort of my soap experience, are also great moments to learn. Aha, I should trust my nose. I should ask around. I should make them taste it with me, right? Ha, that was a mistake I will never make again. It's the high-stakes mistakes that are really the ones that push us beyond where we want to go. All right, so we've got the high-stakes mistakes. So let's go over them again. We have careless mistakes. They happen. You forget to do something. The frog leaps out of the cage because you haven't put the top on. You have to go down on your hands and knees and find a tiny frog amidst the dog hair on the floor. This has happened to me. You have the mistakes where they're learning mistakes. You don't know yet how to do something. You make the wrong move, and yet it comes back and you don't make it again because now you understand how it works. You have the ignorant mistakes that are opportunities for aha moments. It's not that you're trying to do something. You're doing something very much like Moses was, where you go along doing things the way you think, and yet you make a mistake, and now you go, I should listen more carefully to God. I shouldn't just hit the rock in response to the people needing water. And then you have the high stakes mistakes, the ones where you've been practicing, you've been working, you've been gathering all your forces to better yourself, and yet still you don't make it over the high jump or hit the fundraising goal that you were hoping to, or whatever it is that you're preparing for, it doesn't quite work. And these two are all very fertile opportunities for us to improve ourselves. Rodney Robinson, who is a teacher in the Virginia schools for students who've committed crimes, says, sometimes a temporary setback is what you need to succeed in life. And so he has developed a whole curriculum about the Virginia law system that he teaches his kids so they know what they're in and how to get themselves out. And he has tremendous success. Many of his students go on to become teachers, learning from their mistakes. What do you need to know to rectify it? And Moses does, in fact, learn from this mistake, because the next time he's confronted with grumbling people, he's told to do something and he does exactly what is needed. It works like a charm. And not only that, that's the last time the people grumble. So, in the midst of this sad moment for him, this growthful moment that isn't quite growing in the direction he wants, where he loses something that seems dear to him, he also becomes the most effective leader he's ever been at bringing the masses together and at showing them what it is that they need to do in order to take this holy people into the future. And they do. From here on out, they win battles and get away from difficult situations and move towards crossing the Jordan River into Jericho and to the Promised Land. So remember, everyone makes mistakes. Your sister and your mother and yourself and your children, everybody makes mistakes. The question is how we can take that swig of failure when we're faced with a new challenge and turn it into something that is growthful for us and for our community around us. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Rabbi. That was amazingly insightful. Okay, we now turn to our Torah reading. Because of COVID and the restrictions on people being in the synagogue, we're going to leave the Torah in the ark. We're just going to open it, and I ask my husband Jack to come up and help me with this.
Hey kamocha va'Elohim Adonai. Hey kemasecha. Malchutecha malchut kol olamim. Umemsholtecha bechol dor vador. Adonai Melech, Adonai Malach, Adonai Yimloch, Le'olam Va'ed. Adonai Oz Le'moiten, Adonai Yevarech, Et amo v'shalom. Harachamim eitiva Ritzonecha et Zion tibenei chomot Yerushalayim.
From Sinai until now. Its teaching is love and justice, goodness and hope. Freedom is its gift to all who treasure it. And then we say the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonai, Kadosh Shemo.
Gadol Adonai iti, ulerolema Shemo yachdav.
for our reading today is on page 1026 in the Plout. It's Khukat, it's verse 20 from verse 1, chapter 20, Numbers, chapter 20, verse 1, and it'll go up till verse 11. The first aliyah will be Idan ben Meir Vashana, Idan Gonen Shulman, in honor of his birthday, which he celebrated this week. Yamod, Idan ben Meir Vashachar, Harishon Lekriyat HaTorah.
Baruchu et Adonai Hamvarach, Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Laolam Va'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam, Asher Bacha Banu Mekol Ha'amin, V'natan Lanu et Torato, Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Vayavohu bnei Yisrael koha edah midbatzin b'chodesh harishon vayeshev ha'am b'kadesh v'tama sham Miriam v'tikaveh sham v'lo haya mayim la'edar vayikahalu al Moshe ve'al Aharon vayarev ha'am im Moshe vayomru lemor v'lo gavanu bigva achenu lifnei Adonai.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam, Asher Natan Lanu Torat Emet, V'chaye Olam Nata Bo Tzachanu, Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. 20 verse 1. The Israelites arrived in a body at the wilderness of Zin on the first new moon, and the people stayed at Kadesh. Miriam died there and was buried there. The community was without water, and they joined against Moses and Aaron. The people quarreled with Moses, saying, If we had perished when our brothers perished at the insistence of the Eternal. Okay, it leaves in the half. Our next aliyah is Gavin Regali in honor of his grandmother Augusta Lillian Rubin's yahrzeit this Shabbat. Yamod Gavriel ben Eliyahu v'Gila Hasheni L'Kriyat HaTorah.
Baruchu et Adonai Hamvarach, Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Va'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam, Asher Bacha Banu Mikol Ha'amin, V'natan Lanu et Torato, Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Lama Haveitem et Kahal Adonai El Hamidbar Hazeh Lamot Sham Anachnu Uv'irenu Velama Ha'elitunu Mimitzrayim Lavihiotanu El HaMakom Hara Hazeh Lo Makom Zerah V'tena V'gefen V'rimon Umayim Ayin Lishtot Vayavo Moshe ve'Aharon mipnei hakahal el petach ohel moed vayiplu al pneihem vayera kivod Adonai alehem.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam, Asher Natan Lanu Torat Emet, V'chayei Olam Nata B'tochenu, Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. I'm going to go back to verse 3, just to make sense in English. The people quarreled with Moses, saying, "If we had perished when our brothers perished, at the insistence of the Eternal, why have you brought the Eternal's congregation into this wilderness for us and our beasts to die there? Why did you make us leave Egypt to bring us to this wretched place, a place with no grain or figs or vines or pomegranates? There is not even water to drink." Moses and Aaron came away from the congregation to the entrance of the tent of meeting and fell on their faces. The presence of the Eternal appeared to them. The third aliyah is Jackie Meltz in honor of his birthday during this past week. Ya'amod Yaakov ben Meir Nachum hashlishi l'kriyat haTorah.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamavorach, Baruch Adonai hamavorach l'olam va'ed, Baruch Adonai hamavorach l'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher b'cha banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato, Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Vayedaber Adonai el Moshe lemor, kach et hamateh vehakel et ha'eda atah ve'aron achicha v'dibartem el hasela le'eneihem v'natan meimav והוצאת להם מים מן הסלע, והשקית את העדה ואת בעירם. ויקח משה את המטה מלפני אדוני, כאשר ציווהו. ויקהילו משה ואהרון את הקהל אל פני הסלע, ויאמר להם, שמעו נא המורים, מן הסלע הזה נוציא לכם מים. וירם משה את ידו, ויח את הסלע במטהו פעמיים, ויצאו מים רבים, ותש העדה ובעירם.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chiyei olam notah b'tocheinu, Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. And we go back again, I'm going to go a little bit back from verse 7. The presence of the Eternal appeared to them, and the Eternal One spoke to Moses, saying, "You and your brother Aaron take the rod and assemble the community, and before their very eyes order the rock to yield its water. Thus you shall produce water for them from the rock, and provide drink for the congregation and their beasts." Moses took the rod from before the Eternal, as he had been commanded. Moses and Aaron assembled the congregation in front of the rock, and he said to them, "Listen, you rebels, shall we get water for you out of this rock?" And Moses raised his hand and struck the rock twice with his rod. Out came copious water, and the community and their beasts drank. We turn now to the Mishaberach for the Aliyah. Mishaberach Avotenu Imvotenu Avram Yitzchak v'Yakov Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah Hu Yavarich et Idan ben Ma'ir v'Shachar Gavriel ben Eliyahu v'Gilah Yaakov ben Meir Nachum. Okay. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless these people since they have come up to the Torah in honor of God and Torah. May they merit from the Holy One blessing, protection, rescue from any trouble or distress, and from any illness, minor or serious. May God send blessing and success in their every endeavor, together with all Israel, and let us say, Amen. And now we turn to the Mishaberach for prayers for healing. Let me just get my list, sorry. All right. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal those who are ill. It's Alan and Vivian Rima and family, Arthur Kruger, Barry Sinclair, Bobby Rachamim from PE, Corin Baruchowitz, Denise and Tony Rubin, Irma Brenman, who's Giddy Leaf's aunt, Isaac Livni, Felicity Klawanski, sister of Louise Sinclair, Beit David Durban, Joey Kaplan, Lisa Kahanovitz, Michelle Ross, Rowan and Lisa Fine, Marie Lou Smith, Smith Fenter, Surana Skuman, Elizabeth Mills, Michelle Haynes, and everyone who is currently suffering from COVID. Okay. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Mishaberach lavotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength who blessed the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We move now to the Haftarah reading, which can be found in the plot on page 1043. Okay, it'll be read by Gail Saul.
Shabbat Shalom. The Haftarah for Khukat is taken from Judges chapter 11, verse 1 to 33. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bacha b'nvi'im tovim, v'ratzah v'divreihem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher bo Torah, uv'Moshe avdo, uv'Yisrael amo, uv'nvi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek. Yiftach of Gilead was a mighty warrior. Though he was the son of a prostitute, Gilead had fathered him. Gilead's wife had sons. When they grew up, they drove Yiftach out, saying to him, "You are not going to inherit our father's property, because you are the son of another woman." So Yiftach fled from his brothers and settled in the area of Torf, where some outlaws joined him and went out raiding with him. Time passed, and the Ammonites went to war against Israel. When the Ammonites attacked Israel, the elders of Gilead went to bring Yiftach back from the area of Torf. They said to Yiftach, "Come, lead us in battle against Ammon." Yiftach said to the elders of Gilead, "You hated me. You drove me out of my father's house. Now, when you're in trouble, why do you come to me?" The elders of Gilead answered him, "But we have now turned back to you. If you come with us to fight the Ammonites, you will be in command of all Gilead." Yiftach replied to the elders of Gilead, "If you do bring me back to lead the fight against Ammon, and the Eternal hands them over to me, I will be your commander." The elders said to Yiftach, "The Eternal witness between us if we do not act as you say." Yiftach went with the elders of Gilead, and the people confirmed him as their commander and chief. In the presence of the Eternal at Mitzpah, Yiftach repeated all the terms of the agreement. Yiftach sent messengers to the king of the Ammonites, saying, "What quarrel lies between us that you have come to my land to fight me?" The king of Ammon said to Yiftach's emissaries, "Because when Israel went up from Egypt, they took away my land from the Arnon River to the Yabok River, as far as the Jordan River. Now give it back peacefully." Yiftach sent still more messengers to the king of the Ammonites, saying, "Thus says Yiftach, Israel took no land from Moab and Ammon. When they went up from Egypt, Israel traveled through the wilderness to the Sea of Reeds until they reached Kadesh. Then Israel sent a message to the king of Edom, asking to be allowed to pass through his land. The king of Edom refused. They also sent a message to the king of Moab, but he too refused. So Israel remained in Kadesh. Then they went by way of the wilderness, making a circle around the lands of Edom and Moab, keeping east of Moab. They camped on the other side of the Arnon River, Moab's border, but they never crossed that border. Then Israel sent messengers to the Amorite king Sihon, king of Heshbon, saying, "Please let us cross your land to our own." But Sihon did not believe the Israelites would merely pass through his territory, so he mustered his army, encamped at Yahaz, and attacked Israel. But the Eternal, the God of Israel, put Sihon and his army into the hands of Israel, who defeated them. In that way, Israel took over the land of the Amorites who lived in that territory. They took possession of the territory of the Amorites from the Arnon River to the Yabok River, from the wilderness all the way to the Jordan River. And now that the Eternal, the God of Israel, dispossessed the Amorites in favor of Israel, the people of the Eternal, are you going to take it over? Do you not hold whatever your god Chemosh has given you as a holding? So will we hold whatever land the Eternal our God has given to us. Are you really any better than Balak, son of Zippor, king of Moab? Did he dare contend with Israel? Did he dare wage war against them? 300 years Israel has been settled in Heshbon and Aroer and the towns surrounded them, and the cities along the Arnon River. Why didn't you try to take them back all that time? No, I've done you no wrong. It is you who are wronging me by making war on me. The Eternal, the Judge, will decide this day between the people of Israel and the people of Ammon." But the king of Ammon paid no attention to the message Yiftach had sent to him. Then the spirit of the Eternal settled on Yiftach. He went through Gilead and Manasseh, passing Mitzpeh of Gilead, and from there he passed to the army of Ammon. Yiftach made this vow to the Eternal: "If you hand the people of Ammon over to me, then I will offer to the Eternal as a whole burnt offering whatever comes out of my house to meet me when I come home safe from the Ammonites." Yiftach then crossed over to do battle against the Ammonites, and the Eternal put them into his grasp. He routed them with a terrible slaughter from Aroer as far as Minit, all the way to Abel Keramim, 20 towns. So the Ammonites were subdued by the people of Israel. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Tsur kol ha'olamim, tzadik b'chol hadorot, ha'el ha'ne'eman, ha'omer v'oser, ha'daber m'kayem, shekol davarav emet v'tzedek. Al ha'torah, va'al ha'avodah, va'al hanvi'im, va'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh, shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu, likdusha v'limnucha l'chavod u'tzifaret. Al hakol Adonai Eloheinu, anachnu modim lach, umvachimotach. Yitbarach shimcha b'fi chol chai, tamid leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, Makadesh, HaShabbat.
Thank you, Gail. That was beautifully read as always. We turn now to the prayers of our community on page 376. The first prayer for the nation will be read by Karen Margolius in memory of her late grandmother. The prayer for the congregation will be read by Lisa Kahanovitz. Prayer for Israel will be read by Clive Hall. And the prayer for animals will be read by Tamsin and Cameron Kupritz in honor of the yahrzeit of their late great-grandmother.
This is the prayer for our country. O guardian of life and liberty, may our nation always merit your protection. Help us remember those who have lived in the land before us and those who have made it their home in more recent times. Teach us to give thanks for what we have by sharing it with those who are in need. Keep our eyes open to the wonders of creation and alert to the care of the earth. May we never be lazy in the work of peace. May we honor those who have died in defense of our ideals. Grant our leaders wisdom and forbearance. May they govern. Help us to appreciate one another and to respect the many ways that we may serve you. May our homes be safe from affliction and strife, and our country be sound in body and spirit. Amen.
Source of all being, may the children of this community learn these passions from us: love of Torah, devotion in prayer, and support of the needy. May we guide with integrity, and may our leadership be in your service. May those who teach and nourish us be blessed with satisfaction, and may we appreciate their time and their devotion. Bless us with the fruits of wisdom and understanding, and may our efforts bring fulfillment and joy. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha lovadcha b'yira navod.
Prayer for the state of Israel. Pray for peace for Jerusalem. May those who love you prosper. O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the drawing of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it a canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Amen.
Prayers for animals. One of the great commandments is for us to protect the animals amongst us.
Taz Bar-Cham, the protection of both wild and domestic creatures, those who bring us pleasure and comfort, as well as farm animals who toil the surface of humankind. May the great beasts of the wild be protected not only for the sake of their species, but the pleasure they may bring to our children and our children's children. Please keep our pets safe from accidents, illnesses, and human cruelty. Help us understand that their lives, while bring us joy and companionship, are shorter than the human sojourn in the wild. Thus, we are often faced with sadness at their demise, and we pray that we should not be the cause of any suffering or hardship.
Amen.
Amen. Thanks, kids. That's wonderful. We turn now to the Aleinu on page 5. Oh, no, sorry. I would normally put the Torah back into the ark, so we're going to open it again. Yahalalu et Shem Adonai, ki nizkav Shemo levado.
Odo Eretz V'Shamayim V'Yaretz
natati lachem, Torati al ta'azovu.
Etz hayimi lamachazikim la v'tocheha me'ushav teracheha darcheno v'chol netivoteha shalom shalom Hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva Kadesh Yameinu kekedem Etz Chaim hi lamachazikim la v'chol netivoteha shalom shalom shalom.
Now we turn to the Aleinu on page 586.
Aleinu לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה. שלא שם חלקנו כהם וגורלנו ככל המונה ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ ומושב יקרו בשמיים עמה ושכינתו זו בגובי מרומים הוא אלוהינו אין עוד אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו ככתוב בתורתו וידעת היום ושבותה לבבך כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל ועל הארץ מתחתנו עוד.
Turn to page 591, the top. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding. Loved, each of us, for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace.
ביום
page 595, number 6. It is hard to sing of oneness when the world is not complete, when those who once brought wholeness to our life have gone, and naught but memory can fill the emptiness their passing leaves behind. But memory can tell us only what we were in company with those we loved. It cannot help us to find what each of us alone must now become. Yet no one is really alone. Those who live no more echo still within our thoughts and words, and what they did is part of what we have become. We do best homage to our dead when we live our lives more fully, even in the shadow of our loss. For each of our lives is worth the life of the whole world. In each one is the breath of the ultimate one. In affirming the one, we affirm the worth of each one, whose life now ended brought us closer to the source of life, in whose unity no one is alone, and every life finds purpose. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at the season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. And today we think of Basil Benjamin, father of Sandy Meltz, Augusta Lillian Rubin, mother of Gail Regaly and grandmother of Karen Margolius, Lauren Kupritz and Gavin Regaly, Susan Sinek, mother of Mike Sinek, Janie Garb, mother of Mike Garb, Stella Balabanoff, mother of Tony Balabanoff, Claire Hoff, mother of Cyril Hoff, Joshua Furman, father of Sandra Beswick, Rael Burns, Bella Rosen, mother of Martin Rosen, Professor Philip Tobias, remembered by Gail Saul. From Bet Menorah, Pretoria, we have Greta McCaskill, mother of Don McCaskill, Cecily Hurwitz, mother of Wilfred and Yoma Hurwitz, Francis Weitzman, aunt of Wilfred Lautenberg, Stanley Perry Druia, brother of Heloise Kelly. From Beit David, Durban, Johnny Springer, husband of Joy Springer, Gerald Lipschitz, father of Stanley Lipschitz, David Levine, brother of Harold Levine and Joy Springer, Violette Etkin, mother of Rabbi Hillel Avidan, Hermoine Cohn, mother of Lorna Harris, Edith Fannell, mother of Ivor Fannell, Leonard Gehring, father of Paul Gehring. Passed away recently, Mildred Goodman, remembered by Stephen and Helen Kaplan, Dr. Aubrey Luntz, remembered by Merle Oshry and family, and close friend of Rona and Giddy Leaf, Joyce Jordan, stepmother of Greg Jordan, and lovingly remembered by Ruth, Greg, Janice, Kelly, and the family. And in their honor and in all others, we turn to Mourners Kaddish, 598. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shmei Rabbah, v'alma divrach hirutei, v'amlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yomechon, uv'chayei dechol beit Israel, b'agalav izman kariv v'imru, Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'elam almei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitruman v'yitnaseh, v'yitada v'yitaleh v'yitalal, shmei dekudusha barichu, Le'elam min kol birchata b'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechemata, da'amiran bi'alma v'imru Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'imurmav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yishvei tevel, v'imru Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel and to all humanity, to which we say, Amen. Thank you to Deron Kanar for so ably facilitating the streaming of the service today, and to the congregants who participated via pre-recorded videos. Also thanks to Rabbi Salama for her sermon. Next Shabbat, Alexia Smedmore will be called to the Torah as Bar-Mitzvah. We wish the family Mazel Tov on this happy occasion. Regrettably, only immediate family will be permitted in the synagogue, but the service will be streamed live via YouTube for all to watch and support Alexia. Save the date, Sunday 25th of July at 3 o'clock, 1500, a streamed virtual music show, which is entitled Jewish Connections with Rock Music That You Didn't Know About, presented by Anthony Scheel. More details on our upcoming music show will be publicized once all the details have been finalized. In view of the alarming rise in COVID cases, medical advisors have strongly recommended a drastic curtailing of all Jewish communal activities in Johannesburg and Pretoria for a period of 2 weeks, commencing immediately, up to and including 28th of June 2021. Life cycle events should only involve the immediate family. No other functions should take place during this time. We urge all our congregants to stay home and exercise all necessary COVID preventative measures at all times. And I would like to just emphasize this, that we have the ability to stay home. We have the wonderful technology to be able to even do our shopping through online, do everything online. And it's best to stay at home where you can, stay safe. Where you have to go out, please wear a mask in public, please maintain social distance, and stay safe so that you can meet us at Alexia's Bar-Mitzvah next week. We conclude the service with the singing of Adon Olam on page 625.
Adon Olam Hashem alach, b'terem kol yitzir nivra, v'nasa b'chefzo kol, azay melech shemo nikra. V'yacharei תקלוט הכל, לא ימלוך נורא, והוא היה, והוא עובד, בתפארה. אדון עולם אשר מלך, בטרם כל יציר נברא, להתנסה בחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא. והוא אחד, ואין שני, לא להכבירה. בלי ראשית, בלי תכלית, עוז והמשרה. אדון עולם אשר מלך, בטרם כל יציר נברא, להתנסה בחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא. והוא אלי, וחגולי, לי בצרה. והוא ניסי, ומנוס לי, מנחוסי ביום אקרא. אדון עולם אשר מלך, בטרם כל יציר נברא, להתנסה בחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא. Avgid ruchi, tishan ve'ayira. Ve'im ruchi, geviati. Adon hali ve'lo ira, Adon olam asher malach, בטרם כל יציר נברא, להתנסה בחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, shalom, Shabbat shalom, shalom umvorach, Shabbat shalom, shalom umvorach, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 shalom.